On today's episode, we are talking all things soccer cards with the guys at Soccer Cards United. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Power Sports Memorabilia Show. I am your host, Matt Powers. Thank you again for joining me. If you guys can, visit the website, powersportsmemorabilia.com, and also give me a follow over there on Instagram at Powers Autographs. And today we have a few special guests from all the way from Dublin, Ireland. It looks like they're on a football pitch here, but maybe not so right now. I've got Jason and Enzo joining me from Soccer Cards United. You guys can follow them on Instagram at Soccer Cards United. And you can also find a link to their podcast right in their Instagram bio there. Good stuff. These guys are some funny guys. They've got some good podcast presence there. So I've enjoyed listening to you guys' stuff. Jason and Enzo, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, yes, been good. We're good on this end.
Good, man. Love the accent, man. I always appreciate hearing it. I was surprised to know that people in the what we call, I guess, the boondocks actually revert to it as soccer out in the countryside. Is that correct? Out in Dublin?
Yeah. So in Ireland we have our own native football basically, which is like a mix between rugby and soccer. And so if you go to the countryside in Ireland, they'll call it soccer because they wouldn't give football, which they would call it an English game. They wouldn't give that the credit of being real football. They call that soccer. But in Dublin, we're a bit more metropolitan, so we call it football.
A little higher end, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess today we'll refer to it as what? Soccer or football? What do you guys want to do?
Let's do soccer just for everybody at home.
Let's do soccer. Okay. All right, good deal. So we're going to talk a little bit about who are some underrated players. Some different types of cards that you can be investing in today. And at the end of the video, they're going to give us some of their picks on maybe some sleepers and ones that we can pick up today to hopefully advance our investing and collecting in the cards there. But first off, let's talk about, as Americans, we are very, very little about soccer. Okay, our extent of the soccer is Landon Donovan and U.S. women's soccer, right?
Yes.
Those are our guys, right? So we don't know too much about soccer, even though some people will play it out and say they do. Tell us a little bit about, why should we be caring about that soccer cards are blowing up here? Why is this a big deal?
I think to my analysis of the market is that there's two mega trends kind of taking place. You have everyone over in the United States who have always kind of historically been into cards with basketball, football, baseball. And obviously, since for the last 10, 20 years, there's been such a push for soccer, MLS, to be grown over there. So, it's the biggest and fastest growing sport in the world. And, recently, in kind of the last 10 years, 5 years, Panini and Topps as well have started bringing kind of the signature sets and made soccer card versions of it, which has essentially kind of pushed people, kind of made Americans look at the soccer cards. And then on our end, we are now, it's almost like, historically we've always had stickers, and we'll get into that later, but on our end, we're seeing people from the United States. We have access to the internet. Everyone is seeing that. We're seeing them buy soccer cards. We all love soccer. So now our mega trend in kind of Europe and the rest of the world is that now we're dipping into cards. Does that make sense?
I understand. Yeah. I actually liked your saying about how potentially we could get Panini just making European cards too, which I thought was actually kind of an interesting angle. And I had never actually thought about that.
I've heard there's rumors going around that it could be happening. Similar to the Chinese set, I think the Asian set, the Tmall Panini Chronicles. I don't know if you've heard about that. They come out, they're not as luxurious as in the States. They don't have parallel cards. They don't have autographs, but they had their own specific Asian parallel, I think a purple laser that you can't get in the United States. I can kind of expect that to kind of roll out in Europe, similar.
Absolutely. So go ahead.
So
man.
I was gonna add to that basically I think it is like what Eds was saying. It's like two trains that aren't stopping, and they're kind of finally crashing into each other. But it's the best train crash you've ever heard of. Not in a bad way, like people usually use. I'm reinventing the phrase.
They're gonna go right by each other, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's been really interesting to see because as Americans we know Messi, right? We know Ronaldo. Those are the main superstars. Those are the LeBron Jameses of the world. Everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. But Mbappe, of course, is one that's just kind of, Freeze for us has kind of come onto the market. Now, granted, he was a 2018 kind of World Cup champion with France. Who are some players that, us as Americans should really start paying attention to that the European market already knows about?
Yeah, so I just wanted to start on this question by just laying out the fact that, so my limited knowledge of American sports, whatever is baseball, football, basketball, and I know that in all the major leagues there, you've got a reasonably limited number of teams. There's not a huge number of franchises, even across the whole country, So if you're talking about any particular sport at any given time, there's not going to be that many people that are standing out. In soccer, every country has its own league, and most countries have several different leagues. So whereas people may see soccer players in the World Cup or in the Champions League or maybe in the English Premier League, what you have to realize is every week around the world, there are 4 divisions playing out in every single country. So my first bit of advice is there are so many soccer players.
Right.
It's
so overwhelming, man.
Yeah, at any given time in a soccer match, there are 22 guys on the pitch playing. So it doesn't really have that same feel to, say, baseball, where when the batter steps up, all eyes are on him. It's a game with a lot of moving parts. So I just want to start off by saying, optimistically, there's always value, there's always sleepers, and Enzo can tell you about some of them.
Yeah. Personally, if we're kind of run through a few, and the people in the United States are really catching on fast. They know about them now. They're starting to know about them. For me, one of the players I'm most excited about for this season upcoming is Erling Haaland. Has his name come across?
Okay.
Yeah. He plays for Borussia Dortmund. He recently got the number 9 jersey. 20 years of age. An interesting kind of thing about him that I like the most, he was moving from Austria to Germany, and he had an opportunity to go to England with Manchester United. And the reason that move broke down is because he wanted to own a bigger percentage or all of his image rights. So essentially, what's in his branding. So the kind of interesting thing there to look at is he's an individual that sees himself as a personal brand. That was the deal breaker for him. So kind of going forward, he's someone that you're going to see on social media. And we've already seen it at 20 years of age. I'd compare him to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That kind of, he's his own brand. He's his own thing. 20 years of age. I expect him to score 20 to 30 goals comfortably, even at 20 this upcoming season.
Yeah, I would say so. I think there's an interesting point on Haaland there, because he's a top goal scorer, but he's also, as Enzo says, a bit of an egomaniac,
Nice.
And there are some players where they have such a high opinion of themselves, they love themselves, they're all about the brand, but ultimately they're not very good at football or at soccer, so no one likes them, right? Everyone kind of gets that. But also counterintuitively, there are players that are really, really good, but just kind of lead quiet lives, keep to themselves, and don't do a lot of publicity events. And curiously, they're also undervalued, even though they might be better than some of the guys that have high value, but because they're not shouting about it. So again, it comes back to that thing of, the value comes at the intersection between personality and branding and talent as well. So Haaland's a good example.
Do you find that the goal scorers are the most popular guys, kind of like here with the home run hitters?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like goalkeepers are worth any amount of dollars, right?
No. There's opportunity there though as well.
Yeah.
The goalkeepers are extremely undervalued. I think after the Champions League final, Manuel Neuer, who was in goal for Bayern Munich, his value went up straight away. People don't give the love to the goalkeepers, but because of that, you're getting Hall of Famers, all-time best keepers in the world, Prism cards as well, like Iker Casillas, Gianluigi Buffon, 2 of the best in the world ever. Very undervalued, extremely cheap. So there's definitely, because especially in Europe, Spanish people and Real Madrid fans would have such a cult love for that player. So if they start to get in, especially as collectors more so than just investors, suddenly they become premium product as well.
Yeah, it's I remember when Tim Howard, was the goalkeeper for the United States. He ended up becoming a huge name here, mainly because you talked about, he had the skills, but he also had the personality to kind of mesh together.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, Tim Howard say, goalkeeper, right? So people are getting into soccer cards. The first position that's going to fly up the charts is going to be forwards. Basically, I think the value, the trends are all going to move from the front of the team back. So the first group to peak will be the forwards, will be the goal scorers. Then the midfielders will get more attention. Then when more people come into the market and they're kind of looking at the prices for forwards and midfielders and saying, oh, that's too expensive, I can't start here. Then defenders, and then eventually in 5 years' time, if you want to get into the market, probably your only way to get in, unless you have big bucks, will be to buy a goalkeeper, hope he has a few clean sheets, gets a into a World Cup or something, and then trade him. So it's going to start diluting, but it's going to take time.
What about managers?
This is something we talked about on the podcast recently.
A lot of managers are former players, as I'm sure it's similar in other sports. There is some cards of managers. So there's a Diego Simeone card, him as a manager. Managers, there's a lot of attention on them, a lot of focus on them. If their team wins, they're under the lights. If their team loses, they're extremely under the lights. It's hard to see because managers are always chopping and changing. So there's not too many clubs that really just have complete affection and love for one manager. But it's interesting. I think old retro cards and stickers of a player that went on to become a manager is a huge space.
Like, for instance, so if you look at, there's a player who used to play for AC Milan, Filippo Inzaghi, and Italian legend, and he was a great player, but his cards aren't really there yet, but he just got promoted. He's the manager now, and he just got promoted from the second division of Italian football to the first division. So next year he's going to be on the sidelines, and what happens is then everyone kind of is like, oh yeah, remember him? And so you'll find that all of a sudden a market will emerge for him literally because people are looking at him. Because again, there's so many players, something needs to happen because these are, human beings are buying the cards. So it's not like we're kind of sitting there crunching the numbers on who's statistically the best player, the most interesting player. You have to know about them. And the way you're going to know about them is they're on the sideline every week.
And so let's talk about specific cards for a second here. The 2014 and 2018 Prism sets have obviously taken off their World Cup years. 2015 and 2016 Select have been, big sets as well. People are kind of maybe missed the boat on some of those cards there for to a certain extent. What are some other sets that people can be looking at that you think are going to be of value in the future?
Yep, one of my favorite sets, which is available currently, is the 2019-2020 Topps Chrome Bundesliga set. So in there, you'll find your Erling Haalands, your Jadon Sanchos. Haaland is kind of but the biggest draw in that set for me, and there's a lot of young players in Germany, so they could be, the value of that totality, that set is going to go up. But as an American, you might have heard of him because, the Americans definitely get the most thing. Giovanni Reina.
Okay.
You've heard of him?
Yeah.
Yep. He, I think he's going to have a big season this year. Plays for a very, very attacking team. I think he's a star in the making. I think you're going to hear a lot about him over the next 12 months. He's a card that I'm really trying to get my hands on now. But that set, there's so many young stars in Germany. Germany as well is, as its own brand, the Bundesliga, does such a good job. Out of every league in soccer, they have the best social media team, YouTube page, everything. They're really, really well structured. Very efficient as the Germans are. That's a set currently if you're dipping into the market. If you have a bigger budget, the 2006 World Cup trading cards, they went crazy a couple months ago. The boxes were selling for €60 and they're currently at about €1,500 in the space of a month and a half. That set is just stacked and stacked. And the main draw there is that you have Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo's debut World Cup. And these are Panini cards. They're not Prism because they didn't have that then, but they're Panini and they are cards, not stickers. And there's so many legends in that set. David Beckham, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, so many. But the sticker box of that, which is at a much more affordable price, maybe €150, has kind of emerged as a secondary market that people are saying all the same people in the checklist are in it and people are jumping for it. And the last thing I would say is Optic, Donruss, they're starting to pop as well. They're starting to bubble. There's lots of opportunity with Topps now as well because print numbers are really low. So you can kind of, if you know someone's a rookie, you can kind of jump in.
So we've talked about it a few times here already, but stickers are something that I've actually been picking up a little bit of lately, mainly the World Cup ones, just because the pricing is so much cheaper than, take the 2018 World Cup Mbappe stickers versus his Prism card. So let's talk about, we don't really have stickers for like the basketball cards and all that kind of stuff. Talk a little bit about the soccer stickers. Are they important? Are they collectible? What's the deal with those?
Yep. For me, equally as collectible as the cards. I think there is kind of this stigma around them, maybe from people that are just used to collecting cards. But the majority of the market is about to go stickers. It's going to happen. You see the Mbappe rookie sticker if you've seen that one. I think PSA 10 is at 10,000 now, I think. that it's undeniable. For most soccer, like Panini for us is stickers.
Yeah.
It was founded in northern Italy in a town Modena. We're just so comfortable and familiar with stickers. Some of the most of the legendary soccer players, their rookies are stickers. And then just added to that, to get this such a low populations of graded stickers, because it's been in Europe, we don't have PSA easily available to us. Populations are low. Even just opening a sticker pack, you could damage a sticker because they're so flimsy. So having a graded sticker, just the populations are never going to be crazy, and they were very poorly cut for the most part. So getting that PSA 10 is just
you're not really doing a great ad for Panini stickers here. You're like, the quality's bad, they're flimsy,
no, it is.
they're terribly cut.
But if you get them graded, you're looking at gold going
I had
forward,
some
in my opinion.
Thierry Henry 1998 ones that the printing was diagonal. I was like, what is this?
A PSA 10 of that sticker is, I think, I don't think anything has been higher. I have about 20 of them in my possession. There's one that I'm kind of confident will get the PSA 8, but that's about it.
Yeah, I just got some in that. No way they get an 8, these ones. They were bad.
It's that was just manufacturing process. There's certain stickers in the 1998 set that are fine. Wherever Henri was placed in the sheet was just unlucky and very poorly cut.
Nobody cared about him when they were printing those things. So let's Jason, let's swing back to you. Let's talk about grading, for example, for the Europeans. Obviously PSA and Beckett and SGC are based here. It's pretty easy for us to get stuff graded. How does it work with you guys on getting stuff graded? Do you have to, obviously you're gonna have to ship them here, but do you have a subgroup that you guys go through? How does it work with you guys?
So I know this is one of my questions. So every week on our podcast, we, because I'm just the whole kind of premise of our show is that I'm getting into the whole card thing, and so Enzo takes me through a new kind of module every week, and we did grading 101, and what we discovered is that there are, for the growing European market, there are services like Ship My Cards, which basically will cut down on everyone's shipping cost by bulk sending stickers from lots of different people, or cards from lots of different people, sending them to PSA. So you're basically either going to send them yourself at great cost, or you're going to have to wait longer and cut the price a little bit. So
potentially, your best bet is probably just to buy them from a seller in the States and send them to Ship My Cards, and then have them get them graded for you.
I wouldn't say that's the best bet, just because obviously, with grading, you want to look at your card, you want to know, you want to assess it. There is some European-based companies that offer grading services. There is one in the UK called Ludkins, which is certified by PSA.
Oh, okay.
And they do the great package. They give you the card savers, so you don't have to provide the card savers, which are in short supply at the minute, I think. And then they also do a pre-screening for you and then send you those results before you decide if you want to send each card through. So
wow.
It's a very, and it's cheaper than doing it yourself. So it is actually an amazing service. There's a few companies around that do that. That's the best bet if you're in Europe.
Yeah, because that's the biggest issue in buying, obviously, raw cards is now that the cat's out of the bag, right? Everybody knows that if you grade it and you get a 10, it's worth so much more. So the lots out there are not very good. So obviously getting your eyes on it, and even just in the last 3 or 4 months, I remember buying Zion Williamson rookie cards, basketball cards. You could buy anything on PSA 10 off eBay right away. Nowadays, nothing raw on eBay is a PSA 10 by any means.
Yeah. I think it's coming at it from as a new collector or a new investor, it can be a bit intimidating because it's kind of has a kind of a feel of the ungraded cards are kind of like the Wild West, everyone's kind of just buying them, and there's a bit kind of an intimidation factor there as well when you're buying an ungraded card, because I could be buying a little piece of gold, but I could get it and it could just be a bit crap. I understand why grading is there, but there's definitely an opening in Europe for a bigger scale grading operation. I know Ludkins are a pretty small operation. Someone within the EU.
Honestly, I think PSA, one of the grading companies.
PSA Europe, expect that next year. Or the
if
year
you
after.
have PSA, Beckett, that there's such a kind of which one will be worth more long term, which is better. SGC is emerging. If one of them kind of take the front foot and set up a HQ in Europe, that could change the game.
Totally agree. And then they would kind of basically corner that market there and potentially also raise their USA prices too, So.
Yeah. But also throwing in that little gem, it's more for if you're buying in the United States, you're getting another Zion Williams. There's a high chance you're buying off someone who's assessed all his Zions, sent some for grading, and is selling you. In Europe, because we don't have, it's way harder. More a lot of people just don't grade. You do have that opportunity of buying a raw card that is actually a perfect PSA 10 if they package it right, which sometimes is risky business in Europe. But It is
We're
there.
learning. We're still learning on packaging and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
we're trying to teach them.
Yeah, top loaders and cardboard. Yeah, and don't use any tape. We use the painter's tape so we can get it off there.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just something fun on the side here. You know, we have a ton of card shops here in the United States, of course. What is it like in Europe, specifically in Dublin? Like, are there card shops there? What are they like? Or
No, there's no card shops. Recently, we had a bit of an adventure. I was looking at various like classified, like the just like Irish versions of like Craigslist, basically. Just like, does anybody have any cards or stickers up for sale? Because someone might have like, gone to the States or something, picked up one and brought it home and realized they had it and put it up for sale. And I found in a vintage shop in Dublin, they had a box of stickers for Man United stickers from 2008, 2009, just sitting there in the shop. And I was like, oh my God, there's a Ronaldo sticker in there. It's a really rare collection.
And it's sealed as well.
Sealed,
unopened.
yeah. And so we were doing a podcast, and I was supposed to be going out for lunch with my girlfriend after the podcast, and I was like an hour or so late for lunch because Enzo and I had to stop in the middle of the podcast, go to the shop, ask the guy, hey, do you have this box? He was like, I don't know, make him look. And
it was in the basement.
He was in the basement. He was like, what is this? Do you want this? And we were like, yes, please. So it's desperate out here.
It's dark out here. I've said to Jason I want to set up like a mini vlog series of just traveling to different European countries and trying to find something. Because like in Portugal, there's some really, really high end
super cracks,
mega cracks cards. And I'm sure there must be a shop in Portugal somewhere that just has one sealed wax Ronaldo rookie in there. So I'm tempted to do it. Try to find it. But it's grim out here. It's not good.
Yeah, there's like, Germany has some cards, France, and obviously Panini has a different website for every European country. Like we're lucky in Europe that we can take like short hop flights to other European countries. So we're tempted, next year maybe when coronavirus is a little bit less grim, to hop on a plane and go straight to Panini HQ in Modena and, practice our Italian for a few months before. And just knock on the door and say, what have you got?
That's a fantastic idea, actually, for a show. It's just to go around to different European countries and see if you can find any sort of cards or anything like that. I think that would be a fantastic YouTube show.
Yeah, I think it was some good sponsored content for PSA when they launched the European service, because we're going to need a lot of funding for that, a lot of air travel.
They better do it quick because, somebody's going to do it. Somebody has to do it because there's going to be a big market there, especially nowadays that soccer cards are taking off.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty here. Last question here. Let's get into some specifics for the collectors. Give me, up to 5 cards that you think are going to be going up in value. That these are not necessarily a home run, but a pretty safe bet. Something that's going to be going up in value over time. Okay,
I got some here. So one of the players I mentioned earlier today, Erling Haaland. Here we're going with a sticker. He has an Austrian foosball, so it's FUSS ball. Number 32, it's his rookie sticker. There's 2 variations of this sticker. One kind of on the left hand side has a dark border, one has a white border. The dark one is the original. White is kind of like, it's not, I wouldn't call it a reprint, but it's like a second edition, so less desirable. Both stickers, I think 3 months ago, were at €300 each.
Oh,
ungraded raw.
Wow.
Right? They've dropped off now. They're currently about, because the German league ended, literally as it ended, attention was gone. People ran away. You could probably pick one up for under 60 now. I fully expect, big drop. And especially if there's a bigger supply of that product in Austria.
He didn't tell me this before we came on the show. I'm going to have to... I would have bought some before he mentioned it on your show.
I need to keep some exclusives.
What are we doing? We should be manipulating the market. Okay.
All right. Well, when does the show come out? No.
We got 2 or 3 weeks right now.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
If you put your eBay, if you're looking on eBay, if you put it to item location worldwide, Austria has the biggest supply, so a lot of people there currently, because there's no attention on it, are undercutting each other. You can get either version under 60. You could pick it up for 20. Like it's a sticker. I'll go on record now and say in 4 to 6 months it'll be back at 100, 200. I would say 200 plus. I think it'll hit its 300 again. And if you get that stuff graded, I think that there's PSA 10s out there for under 1,000, and they were selling for 1.5 a few months ago. So that's a big one. So that's number 1. Number 2, again with a sticker, Mason Greenwood, his Premier League rookie sticker, number 397. He's a goal scorer. He's 18 years of age. I've never seen someone so comfortable in front of goal in one-on-ones. He's comfortable with both feet, when I was first watching him play, my brother supports Man United. I couldn't figure out what foot he was, and I was like, oh, he's right footed. It's very clear. He got a penalty. He took it with his left foot, and I said, okay, he's left footed. Then he got a free kick, and he took it with his right foot. So I've never seen a player so comfortable with both feet and so good in front of goal. So his Panini 397 Premier League sticker. He also has some Panini Chronicles. If people are just rejecting their stickers, there's some Don Russ rated rookie Chronicles as well.
Yeah, just on Mason Greenwood, I guess I'll try and add a bit of commentary. Like he plays for Man United, okay, so one of the biggest clubs in the world. Everybody knows about it. If he just played for Man United, that'd be good enough. But he's also English, which means that the English press are going to absolutely love him because the English press are completely biased towards their own players.
No.
I know. Can you imagine? Mason Greenwood just got his first pick for the senior English international squad, so he's a dark horse shout for the next European Championships and pretty much a guaranteed guaranteed squad member for the next World Cup as well. So, and Manchester United have qualified for next season's Champions League, so we're going to see an awful lot of Mason Greenwood on show over the next 2-3 years. He's not going away anytime soon, and by the time the 2026 World Cup comes around in North America, he's going to be an established, well, we assume he's going to be an established English star, and could be lighting it up just as soccer goes truly crazy.
Because that World Cup is being hosted, I'm sure, as you know, in the United States, Canada and Mexico. So that's going to be a huge moment for soccer cards and just soccer globally. Giovanni Reina, from the set I mentioned earlier, his Topps Chrome Bundesliga, I think you can get it for less than €80, the base. I think that's going to go crazy as soon as the season starts. He's going to be starting more games. He's so talented, and when you're supplying balls to Erling Haaland, who's just going to put them away, his stats are going to fly up. Assist. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I mean,
and everything United States, similar with Christian Pulisic, it gets extra love as well.
Yeah, so we mentioned two Borussia Dortmund players. Borussia Dortmund are a club that have a great reputation for developing youth. So just off top of my head, they've got Haaland, they've got Reina, they've got Jude Bellingham. They just bought a 16-year-old from England. Jadon Sancho, who's English as well. So Dortmund have a great collection. One tip I'd give people is there are certain teams that have a reputation for developing youth. So in Germany, Borussia Dortmund. In France, you look at the Lyon Academy. Monaco Academy as well. Ajax, yeah, in Holland. So like there are certain teams that have great academies, and if you look at their young players, they're generally the players that are going to be playing for the top clubs, maybe 3-4 years time.
Gotcha. Good deal. Any other cards you're looking for?
Yeah, two more picks for you. One is for kind of the more higher end people, as I mentioned earlier as well. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi's 2006 World Cup cards. If you can get your hands on them, long term they're a safe bet. And my final one is a Timo Werner. So this is a German striker who has just signed for Chelsea. This is he bangs in goals. He's a very comfortable goal scorer, but now he's playing the Premier League, which instantly is going to kind of increase his value, his attention. But importantly for him, he plays for Chelsea. So a lot of the Americans are going to be tuned in to watch Christian Pulisic, and they're going to see him. The attention will fall on him naturally. So he has a Topps Chrome, I think. There's a lot of Topps cards. I think Topps Chrome 2017-18.
Yeah, when he's playing for RB Leipzig in Germany.
Yeah.
So like you look at like Timo Werner is a really good pick because he's coming from Germany, which is a league that gets a lot of disrespect from fans, you know. So people would say, oh, he scored 20, 25 goals in the German league, whatever, you know, my grandmother could do that and she has one leg. And then, but he's coming to England. Not only is he coming to England, he's coming to Chelsea. Okay, so Christian Pulisic is there. And I know that in the States, NBC show the Premier League, and because Pulisic plays for Chelsea, they show a lot of Chelsea. So you're literally looking at a player that by kind of proxy is going to have so many eyes on him, as Enzo said. And added to that, he's going to probably be the starting German striker in the next couple of international tournaments. And added to that, he's really, really, really good.
that certainly helps there.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. All right, well, good deal, Jason, Enzo. I appreciate you guys coming on here. So much information. I hope obviously our European audience, but also our American audience can learn from you guys. Because, last thing I want to see is people making mistakes with cards. So hopefully they can pick up some good players, save a little bit of money, but also learn something about, the soccer market and all that kind of stuff. Because it is confusing, and there's a lot of players. There's 18 million different leagues, as you just mentioned there. So
yes, there are. Yeah, minimum.
Yeah. All right, well, good deal. You guys can follow them on Instagram at Soccer Cards United. Of course, check out their podcast link, which is in their Instagram bio. Once again, Jason, Enzo, thanks again for coming on. I always appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys again for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the interview with Jason and Enzo. Those guys are some of my favorite guys. Super funny guys, and really check out their podcast there. You can follow them on Instagram over there at Soccer Cards United. They've got some great stuff on there, and again, really good soccer content. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Again, check out my website, powersportsmemorabilia.com, and also give me a follow over there on Instagram. Always appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.